All right, Brian Windhorst joining us now. Wendy, good to have you. Stephen A., I want to start with you, though, here. What's the significance of this decision coming today?
Well, I think that if it's on several levels. If Kyrie Irving is available, I think the Brooklyn Nets could come out of the East. You can make an argument that they shouldn't be the favorite, and I certainly understand that because they've got a lot of they've got a lot of holes to fill, and we understand that. But he is so spectacular as an offensive talent, and what he does to supplement what KD automatically brings to the table. Come playoff action, I don't think you can summarily dismiss the notion that the Brooklyn Nets could come out of the East. Who can't they beat? Who can we definitively look at and say there's no way in hell they can beat? The answer would be no one, because they are the Brooklyn Nets. We're talking about KD and Kyrie here. Talk about KD, who I believe to be best in the world at this particular moment in time. You're talking about Kyrie Irving, who has proven to be one of the most spectacular offensive talents we've ever seen in this game. When you look at the fact that Seth Curry is expected to be available, that Drummond can rebound for you, that guys like Claxton and Jones and all of that stuff with their activity, they can make some things happen because obviously you don't have to rely on them offensively. You just have to rely on their effort. They certainly need to prove defensively, and we get all of that. But with Kyrie Irving in the lineup, they're the number one offense in the National Basketball Association. And dare I say, at times when you watch the other teams, they have a problem scoring the basketball. So when you look at it from that perspective, that's what you peel from this. That's how major this decision is for Kyrie Irving. Did he deserve it? Quite frankly, as an individual, no. But the mandate was bogus. It had no business being in place. People were being bullied to capitulate to some of these mandate demands and all of that other stuff, which was a damn shame, and we all know it. Kyrie Irving should have been allowed to play in the Barclays Center. The second that visitors were allowed to come to the Barclays Center and play basketball, Kyrie Irving should have been allowed to play basketball. But we know this is because of the Yankees and who the Yankees are and what have you, and how ridiculous and bogus this rule is. And I'm happy and proud that Mayor Eric Adams in New York City started reminding the world, assuming that he makes this decision, this is his administration. This is not the Bill de Blasio administration, the former mayor of New York City, who, by the way, is still making noise because they don't want the mandate lifted and all that stuff. The hell with all of that. It's not their administration anymore. It's Eric Adams' administration. And some of it appeared so nonsensical, Kyrie Irving should have been playing. But that doesn't mean he deserves to be deified and treated like he's a hero because of it, which is something I'll get into later. But in the end, I'm happy he's back. It's great for basketball, but more importantly, it's the fair thing to do. And the Brooklyn Nets are instantly a title contender with Kyrie's daily availability.
Yeah, I wouldn't have understood that the baseball lockout was going to affect the Eastern Conference playoffs, but Stephen A., that's what happened. Once baseball got settled and was coming back here, and there was a chance that a bunch of Yankees and Mets star players weren't going to be able to play under this rule, that was the wedge that drove the change in this rule. And like I said, like you said, we can go into all that, but what it really matters is that the rule was flawed from the start. So I will say this. When Kyrie Irving plays this year, the the Brooklyn Nets are one of the top 5 teams in the league. They are third in net rating on the road this year. Net rating is how you do per 100 possessions against your opponent. It goes Suns, Celtics, Nets when Kyrie is on the court. When Kyrie is not, when the Nets have been at home, they're 26th. Now, some of that's because they didn't have Durant for a while, and some of those home games were awful. That skewed a little bit. So you can see they go from being a spoiler in the Eastern playoffs to potentially being the contender. And so this decision is as impactful as anything that's happened in the NBA this year. That said, they are a horrendous defensive team. At home, on the road, with Kyrie Irving, without Kyrie Irving, they're 23rd in defense. We saw that last night. They gave up 132 points to a Memphis team that didn't have their best player. Now, they're great without Ja Morant, but you can't give up 132 points and expect to win anything of value. And that's why, with Kyrie Irving this year, he's played in 20 games. The Nets' record in those 20 games is 8-12. And you can bring up the point that Durant was missing a lot of those games, and there was games he played with Harden where Harden was in shutdown mode. So I'm not saying that 8-12 record is the be-all, end-all, but it is an indication that this is not a panacea. They're going to have to figure out a way to get some stops. But I'll tell you what, Stephen A., if I'm the Miami Heat or the Milwaukee Bucks, and I've worked hard for 5-6 months to get the number 1 or number 2 seed, and I wake up this morning and see that I might be facing the Brooklyn Nets in the first round, I would not be pleased about this development.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.